What occurs when the most terrifying monster ever conceived is, in fact, not a mere product of the imagination? What if the tales whispered on fog-laden decks, the warnings inscribed on ancient maps, and the screams lost in the salt and foam of the sea were more than mere figments of fear, but memories? Memories steeped in salt, blood, and silence. What are we to make of the thought that, even now, something might be waiting down there in the deep? Welcome to the realm of forgotten legends, where ancient myths come alive and hidden horrors arise from the shadows of time. Here, we delve into the darkest corners of human narratives, uncovering truths that perhaps we are not yet ready to confront. If you are intrigued by the uncharted aspects of mythology, this is the place for you. But before we plunge into the depths of this legend, it is worth remembering: not everything that is concealed is mere fiction. The Kraken, that colossal figure which has haunted human imagination for centuries, is not simply a symbol of maritime dread, it is a portal to something much greater. A creature so enormous it could easily be mistaken for an island, capable of pulling entire ships to the ocean's abyss, leaving only emptiness as its grim testament. This is not some poetic invention or a fable spun to amuse children. This is a being that existed in the pages of ancient texts and in the accounts of seasoned mariners. Picture a world where the unknown is not simply an empty void, but an active presence, watching, waiting. A reminder that, no matter how far we've advanced technologically, we remain small in the face of the immensity of the ocean. And as we move forward, we must ask, are we truly alone? In the heart of the cold northern waters, where the sun barely grazes the surface and the wind cuts like a blade, a tale was born that has endured through the centuries. This is not a story made up to frighten children or embellish old books. It is something much greater, something that begins in a place where fear is not just a matter of imagination, but of survival. The first reports come from Norway, where seasoned sailors battled treacherous seas. They spoke of a creature so vast it could easily be mistaken for an island. Picture this: hungry men disembarking onto what appeared to be solid land, only to realize too late that it was alive. When the creature stirred, the earth beneath them quaked, and entire ships were drawn to the ocean's depths, devoured by furious whirlpools. These accounts weren't simply stories to pass the time, they were marked on maps, with clear warnings: monsters here. These words were not mere decoration, they were genuine warnings. The creature, known as the Kraken, was not just a figment of imagination, it was a real menace for those who navigated those treacherous waters. Ancient texts, such as the Skuggsea, provided terrifying details: tentacles as thick as tree trunks, eyes that seemed to watch everything, and a mouth capable of devouring even whales. But what was most intriguing wasn't just the size or power of this creature. It was its patience. The Kraken didn't hunt. It waited. In the dark depths, it observed, invisible, until the opportune moment arrived. Then, without rush, it struck, leaving only silence in its wake. This legend, though ancient, holds something universal: the fear of the unknown. What if these accounts were more than just stories? What if they were memories of something that our ancestors truly witnessed? Over the centuries, reports of encounters with giant creatures continued to surface, originating from seasoned sailors and fishermen who braved the seas in search of survival. These tales were not mere fables to entertain weary crews, they carried genuine weight, marked by tension and dread. In 1783, a French naval officer documented a disturbing incident off the coast of Angola. While sailing in seemingly calm waters, his vessel was surrounded by something impossible: tentacles as thick as tree trunks rose from the darkness, clutching the ship's hull with terrifying force. The men fought desperately, using axes to sever the slippery limbs threatening to pull them into the abyss. But what terrified the officer the most wasn't the attack itself, but what followed. The creature simply withdrew, vanishing into the depths as if nothing had transpired. Similar accounts surfaced from other parts of the world. In the 19th century, fishermen from the Newfoundland region began speaking of something strange in the sea. It wasn't sharks or whales, but something far larger, something with limbs that left deep gouges in the hulls of boats. One such case, recorded in 1873, involved a small group of fishermen who returned to port with only 2 survivors. Their boat was covered in enormous scratches, and their stories were even more harrowing. They spoke of a massive shadow appearing beneath them, causing violent waves before vanishing once again. These testimonies were not isolated. Old maps displayed clear warnings: dangerous waters or monsters here. Perhaps these warnings were intended to protect trade routes, but they also reflected something deeper, the fear of something no one could fully explain. Each account, each scar left on the ships, was proof that something down there watched, waited, and sometimes acted. In recent decades, science has begun to unveil secrets that once seemed confined to the realm of imagination. The ocean, with its dark and unfathomable depths, harbored creatures that defied any logical description. For centuries, reports of giant monsters were dismissed as exaggerations or mere legends. However, as technology progressed, we began to realize that these myths might not be as distant from reality as we once believed. At the beginning of the 20th century, the bodies of enormous creatures began to appear on beaches. Their forms were strange: elongated limbs, enormous eyes, and mouths capable of slicing through fishing nets as though they were paper. These beings were named giant squids, and their existence, once ridiculed, became irrefutable. But this was merely the beginning. In more recent expeditions, underwater cameras designed to operate without light or sound captured something even more extraordinary: a colossal squid in its natural habitat. It moved in a calculated, almost graceful manner, using its appendages as weapons. It wasn't just a passive creature, it was a born predator, adapted to survive where few others could. These discoveries prompted us to reconsider the ancient maritime accounts. Did sailors truly encounter creatures like these? A brief encounter with such a being, especially amidst violent storms, could easily have been interpreted as a monstrous attack. And while we have identified some species, there is still much we don't comprehend. Parts of tentacles recovered in fishing nets reveal features that defy classification. We still don't know everything that inhabits the deepest reaches, where even our equipment struggles to operate. The Kraken, then, may not be merely a human invention. It could be a distorted memory of something our ancestors witnessed but never fully understood. Perhaps it still resides down there, waiting for us in the shadows of the abyss. The ocean holds secrets that humanity is still not prepared to uncover. Its dark and silent waters are a constant reminder of our insignificance, of our fragility in the face of the vast unknown. The Kraken, whether it is a real creature or a construct of our deepest fears, represents something greater, that which we cannot control, explain, or fully comprehend. It is the reflection of our ignorance, the fine line between what we know and what we merely imagine. Over the centuries, sailors, poets, and scientists have attempted to shape what they saw, or thought they saw, in the depths. But perhaps the real terror doesn't lie in the existence of a colossal creature, but in the fact that we will never know everything that inhabits the unexplored regions of the abyss. Each technological advancement brings us closer to answers, but it also reveals new questions. With every discovery, we realize that the ocean is not just vast, it is infinitely strange, teeming with life forms that defy our understanding. What if the Kraken is more than a myth? What if it is a collective memory, a distorted echo of real encounters with something that still watches, waits, and breathes in the shadows of the depths? Perhaps it doesn't need to roar or attack to be terrifying. Its silent presence, its unyielding patience, is enough to remind us of our insignificance in the face of nature's overwhelming power. So, as we navigate through known waters, surrounded by maps and technology, it is worth reflecting: are we truly alone? Or, Somewhere down there, is something still watching us, waiting for the right moment to emerge? The Kraken may be ancient, but its legend has never grown old. It remains alive, just like the fear it carries with it. And perhaps it's better that way, for when confronted with the unknown, fear is the only certainty we possess. If you are fascinated by ancient mysteries, dark legends, and creatures that defy the imagination, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Each video is a unique journey into the unknown, where fear and curiosity walk hand in hand. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates and dive with us into the depths of the unexplored.